This program is brought to you by First National Bank of Botswana. Good evening and welcome to First Issues. We often celebrate the grand achievements of entrepreneurs, the successful fundraising rounds, the innovative product launches, and the most disruptive business models. But this is not where they are made or found. Successful entrepreneurs are created in classrooms. Specifically, you find them in the foundational skills of literacy and critical thinking. This is the crucial connection being made by Bonolo Boitshwarelo, director and founder of Lowapi Study Centre. The challenge is global and it is immense. Experts estimate that 15 to 20% of the world's population has some form of language-based learning disability, with dyslexia being the most common, affecting 5 to 17% of the population. Globally, this means hundreds of millions of people struggle with the foundational skill of reading, often delaying or derailing their career paths. In Botswana, the impact of learning difficulties is particularly stark within the broader context of disability. 2022 data from Statistics Botswana reveals that people with disabilities face significant barriers in both education and employment. Furthermore, 50% of persons with disabilities have either discontinued or never attended school, a powerful indicator of the need for specialized intervention that Lowapi Study Centre provides. This is not a social issue, it's an economic constraint. The international employment rate for people with disabilities is significantly lower than for those without. Low educational attainment, often stemming from undiagnosed learning challenges, limits career opportunities and can trap individuals in cycles of unemployment or low-skilled, low-paid work. Bonolo and Lowapi Study Centre are working to break the cycle. They recognize that when a child struggles with decoding words, they are unable to allocate the necessary cognitive energy toward critical thinking, strategic planning, and innovation, the very traits that define successful entrepreneurship. Lowapi Study Centre focuses on structured literacy and individualized education, reframing conditions such as dyslexia as not a barrier, but a different thinking skill set. Well, we sit down with the leader at the helm of this innovative and crucial centre to talk about her and her own journey of recognizing the opportunities in this space, what the experience has been like being an entrepreneur and future prospect. Bonolo, thank you so much for coming on First Issues and affording us your time. Today we're here to talk to you about Lowapi Study Centre, right, which is your baby. But how did you come to the realization that you could enterprise education in the way that you have?
So thank you so much for having me here. So I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher by profession. I studied special education, majoring in learning disabilities and English. So for a very long time, I taught in public schools and private schools. And then around 2017, after completing my master's, I went on to lecture at Baisakho University. And as I'm at Baisakho University, I realized that, you know what, there is a problem, but this problem, I also saw it at the primary education, the secondary education. And the problem was that students were struggling to read, students were struggling to write, students were struggling to put their ideas on paper where they could make sense. I quit my job in 2019. I was like, okay, look, I'm gonna do this. So it's another garage story. Mm-hmm. I started at the garage at home, literally part-time. I was teaching kids how to read. And as parents saw the difference it made, they're like, oh, okay, why don't you do this full-time? So I fell into full-time.
Did you not have any fears when you were starting the center? Because you were
At the comfort of a salary, you had predictability, you had stability. So starting the center, were there any fears associated?
There were fears, but there's a part of me that always believes a positive, that this thing will work out. So what happened was that 2 months before quitting or so, I was on a medical break actually from work, and then I kind of started around that time. So it gave me an idea to say, well, if this is happening now, when I only have so little time, imagine what can happen when I have a longer period of time to do this. So I sort of believe that, no, it can work out. Of course, you'll have fears, oh, I have a loan there, how are we going to service it, and so forth. But I believed that what I was getting as a part-timer, if I spared more time to do it, I would get more kids and therefore have more income.
What would you say you did not anticipate about entrepreneurship when you started, and now you're in the thick of things, you're like, hey?
I didn't anticipate needing a lawyer, an accountant. I didn't anticipate drawing up contracts. I just wanted to teach kids how to read. That's all. Honestly, even today, I still say that. I'm like, guys, I just want to teach kids how to read. I don't want to sit in meetings and calling people to task and holding them accountable. Why are you not coming on time? And right. Previously, in my last job, I was obviously in a management position. I did that. Maybe it was easier to do because it was someone else's business. And I was given that authority. But I realized that there's this difference that comes with being a founding director. There's the vision that you're driving. And suddenly you're realizing that, okay, I was the only employee, and then I got one more, and then 4. Okay, it's still cool. We're just coming out close. Eventually, you are at 8 to 10 staff members. Then you're like, okay, I have to make sure things, because that's what I've realized. People know their rights when it's time to leave. Right? That's when they go to labor. That's when the whatever. So you need to have your stuff in check. So I realized, okay, I still have the A4 hardcover Nikki's, and I kept good track of the money. But I guess you need to bring people in so that they help you, because currently you need to do things right. So I didn't anticipate all that.
bitsa motho gore motho a leke mangwala e go duela metsi.
Mama, kana male jana ha o tlhoka le go tsamela kgakala gore go duela metsi. FNB re diretse tiro motho. Ma kwa go marekisetsong a ile gore ana le tshwala FNB Cash Plus. Se se tlhokanyela ke o mangwa gago mo tirisong le reference number e bon dinomoro tse diriswang go ruratsa dituelo tsa gago.
FNB what?
FNB Cash Plus.
Madonna makante ke monto samplele ka mananeo ya FNB ya Cash Plus.
La ha re le nna ke gone go utang ka dona ebile ke ne ke sa dumele.
Deposit cash and coins, withdraw from e-wallet, make cardless cash withdrawals, buy prepaid airtime and electricity, pay bills such as water, electricity and many more.
FNB.
Dona. Nyawa ene ke ra sa thare. Mpare mo tiki. Na ke ra go motho hela mamarapedi. O tola skontere hela. Wa go se mo sungwa go duela se mo su. Manane wa FNB Cash Plus.
FNB, how can we help you?
I realized that, you know what, there is a problem, but this problem, I also saw it at the primary education, the secondary education. And the problem was that students were struggling to read, students were struggling to write, students were struggling to put their ideas on paper where they could make sense.
Thank you so much for staying with First Issues. Our conversation with the founding director at Lowapi Study Centre, Bonolo Boitshwarelo, continues, where we now focus on the challenges she faces running the centre.
Let us talk challenges right now. What have been some that you have encountered in trying to build Lowapi to where you envision it to get to at some point?
One of the biggest challenges is a lack of awareness, a lack of understanding of learning disabilities and learning differences. In our context, I think a lot of people look at disability as something physical. If I see you're missing a limb, I see that. Yeah. But if you're looking like you and I will not assume that you, ma'am, being on first issues, struggle with reading and spelling. Mm-hmm. And even if you say that to me, I find it hard to believe. And so because it's not written in our faces that we struggle in this way, and which affects our learning or our work, you find that we have to do a lot of awareness sessions, but parents still don't get it. Mm-hmm. So that is one of the biggest challenges. And then the other challenges, when you don't understand something, you fail to I don't know whether to say to see the value, to understand the value of it. And what do I mean? You come and you are still hoping that you can get this at a very cheap price. Yeah. And being Bonolo also, you are mindful of your environment. I mean, I'm no top English medium school that is around here. But I also know that the value that I provide is really high, because some of the stuff that I do, you cannot get at these schools. But because of where I operate from, a parent will come in just from the gate, they will judge. And like, no, how kabar chajabokana? Oliha. Osena 1, 2, 3. I'm like, I might not have basketball, but I have access. Reading gives the child access to education. And reading gives access to the world around you, because for me, it's not only for a child to pass, but a child to access the world around them.
But how are you getting by? What means have you adopted to navigate all of those headwinds?
That's a difficult question. I'm just trying my best. And my best looks different every time. My best might just be juggling whatever I have to make sure that we are getting on. Because like I said earlier, because I can't charge the way I should, because I'm bringing a product that is not well understood. It means that I have to compensate a lot because of the kind of product offering that we have.
So being a teacher, like you say, right, you've been in various systems of delivering education or teaching. To someone else, now you have this form or system of teaching. To a layperson, why should they believe that this is different?
This education is different because it doesn't start from what you think you know. It looks at the student and allows the student to dictate how they should be taught. It's not just about coming into the classroom with the way you've been taught and say, okay, this is how I was taught to do math, and this is how I'm going to teach you how to do math. Because the way I learn and the way you learn is different. And so the approach should never be the same. The way we teach, we say it's a multisensory approach to be able to appeal to all senses. We grew up in a chalk and board system. And everything, but you realize that you can't do that with our students. And so you have to be very creative. So it's a system that is mindful. It's a system that says, okay, Bonolo has ADHD, and so she has some attention issues. Time and again, she's going to get tired quickly, and so I cannot give her an exercise that is going to demand her to sit for an hour. It's okay to let her take a walk after 30 minutes. Taking a walk does not take anything away from the exercise or from her getting the concept. It's not only necessarily about passing the exams. It's about educating the future in this child and making them future ready. And future ready does not look the same for every single child.
Speaking of that future, though, what are your prospects for Lowapi Study Centre? Where are you looking to?
Sometimes I fear to dream because the dream sometimes feels bigger than me. Firstly, I want to build. I want to build Lowapi Study Centre. I want to build an environment which is somewhat inclusive of the differences. My focus is learning differences, right? I don't necessarily, not to say that we can't help kids with physical disabilities, but the first point of interaction should come because they're struggling with learning, right? I imagine a center that has your educational psychologist on site, it has your OT specialist on site, it has your speech therapist on site, it has pathways to learning. There's the pathway, the education pathway, and then there's the applied life skills pathway. For me is if a child can read, then let's give them the skills. Because and they are able to read their agreement of work or their terms and conditions because they are a chef. I've done my job.
By tackling learning differences head-on, Bonolo Boitshwarelo is doing more than helping students pass a grade. She's ensuring that Botswana's talented, innovative minds are not lost to the economic margins. She's laying the essential groundwork that transforms a capable student into the confident, resilient entrepreneur who will drive the country's economic future. With that, we will see you shortly after commercials.
bitsa motho gore motho a leke mangwala e go duela metsi.
Mama, ka re male jaana ha o tlhoka le go tsamela kgakala gore go duela metsi. FNB re diretse tiro motlho. Emma kwa go marekisetsong a ile gore ana le tshwao la FNB Cash Plus. Se se tlhokanyela ke o mang wa gago mo tirisong le reference number e bong dinomoro tse diriswang go rurihatsa dituelo tsa gago.
FNB what?
FNB Cash Plus.
Madonna makante ke montso sampolele ka mananeo a FNB ya Cash Plus.
La ha re le nna ke gone go utwang ka dona ebile ke ne ke sa dumele.
Deposit cash and coins, withdraw from e-wallet, make cardless cash withdrawals, buy prepaid airtime and electricity, pay bills such as water, electricity and many more.
FNB.
Dona. Nyawa ena ke ra sa thara. Mpare motiki. Na ke ra go motho hela mamorapedi. O tola skontere hela. O bua go semosong wa go duela semosong. Manane wa FNB Cash Plus.
FNB, how can we help you?
Welcome to the last segment of this week's episode of First Issues. On tonight's Solutions Spread, we are joined by Business Development Manager at one of the local commercial banks, Rebaone Khuwe, to talk about Business All-Risk. Imagine you're an entrepreneur who sells tires, and one day you come to your establishment and find that all your stock has been stolen. This immensely sets your business finances back. With financial loss being one of the challenges of running a business, our thought was to look into solutions that may help with this, and in this instance, it's Business All-Risk cover.
Reba, thank you so much for coming back on First Issues and affording us your time. We're continuing our talk on insurance, and today our focus is Business All-Risk. Please briefly unpack that one for us.
Business All-Risks is a cover that covers your portable business assets that are stationed both in the office and outside the office. I'll just use an example. That would be your business laptops, your mobile phones that are owned by the business, any other device that you carry with yourself when moving around, and also that would extend to assets that are movable, that are owned by the business. An example would be a catering company. You have to move around with your tents and carry those assets to a particular destination. So those assets would be insured under the Business All-Risks section.
That sounds, I don't know, a little complicated, right? So maybe you could talk to us about the conditions around this cover.
Okay, first of all, you need to ensure that your assets are well taken care of. You need to safeguard your assets to ensure any further losses, if there are any losses that are incurred. And then also there is that duty of disclosure. You have to disclose all material facts when insuring your assets. And then also when it comes to claims notification, the expectation is that once you incur loss, please immediately ensure that you notify your either brokerage or your underwriter if you insure directly with your underwriter.
Let us talk about exclusions, right? What are they for this cover?
So what we don't cover in this instance would be your normal wear and tear, where your asset is actually now due for replacement. And then we also do not cover any fraudulent acts that would be conducted by the insured person.
To succeed as an entrepreneur, you need to keep your ears on the ground to find the right solutions for whatever challenges you come across, especially when it comes to preventing financial loss. That is all we had for you tonight on Thursday Issues. Till next time, good night. This program was proudly brought to you by First National Bank of Botswana.